And right now, we know from DPW that there are 70 plows on the road making their way around Marion County right now, trying to clear these roads.
According to these new court documents, this all started with a fight here on South Meridian Street. Witnesses say the Dutch soldiers were getting into it with another group of men. And when things started to escalate, the soldiers tried to get back here to their hotel. But that's when witnesses say a pickup pulled up and opened fire.
Organizers are expecting hundreds of people to be here for the Democratic election watch party, including incumbent Mayor Joe Hogsett himself. But Scott, Felicia, will definitely be a very big night for the city of Indianapolis after such a fierce and heated election these last several months. Right now, really the big focus is on cleanup, and you really can't go a couple feet without running into a pile of debris like this. Believe it or not, this is actually someone's garage door, and now it is just a tangled mess that sits at the curb. Well, Ann and Scott, this has been just a difficult day for this community and for Ron's family. Ron was someone who advocated every day for peace here in Indianapolis, only to lose his life to that very gun violence he tried to prevent. Why do you think we're having such a hard time recruiting officers onto the force?
Leadership, or a lack of leadership.
A lot more snow has accumulated in the grass, and if you come over here, it's been interesting to watch how all this moisture, all this rain has now turned into ice. This is our back windshield, and it is a thick layer of ice. Scott, Felicia, just the photos and videos coming out of North Carolina right now are just devastating, and we're also hearing about some towns still cut off from help and supplies. But tonight, that's not stopping Hoosiers from finding a way to lend a hand.
Within the last 10-20 minutes, we have watched as all that pouring rain actually ended up turning into kind of ice. We heard little pellets hitting our windshield, and now it is more a slushy snow coming down.
They also tell me that Nate was supposed to graduate 2 days ago here at IU and walk across that stage. And Scott, something they say they'll never get to experience.
Yeah, it's just so sad for that family. Lauren Kostiuk reporting live. Thanks so much for that update.
We know this building has been known as several different things throughout the years: a city hall, a library, a state museum, and now a developer has another idea for not just this building, but also the parking lot next door. And I'm going to try to do a little bit of a free throw here. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Now, I'm telling you, maybe the Fever want to call me for their #1 pick. I'll have my phone by me, you know, maybe instead of Caitlin Clark. It's not too bad.
It's the sound of the season.
Boom, boom.
Yep, the dreaded potholes are back.
They're rough. I'm ready for them to go.
Some are almost impossible to avoid, like this one on Keystone near 25th Street. It's gotten so bad, there's even a collection of hubcaps and car parts on the sidewalk. Neighbors say it's all they hear.
Every car, pss, 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 that's all you hear every time.
Around the corner on Hillside Avenue, it's even worse. One car practically falling into a giant crater, and several more swerving to avoid a trip to the repair shop. Because hitting one can cost you big. Just ask Austin Kurkowski.
Big enough that, it sounded like I need to look at my car.
Currently, the city has more than 4,000 pothole requests, which is why Indy DPW is taking advantage of the warmer weather, tackling as many neighborhoods as possible. This crew filling dozens of cracks near 16th and Central. And another crew is seen patching in Franklin Township, a welcome sight to many.
Thank you for doing what they can to keep everybody else on the road safe.
Potholes, not just putting roads to the test, but also testing people's patience.
Fill them up.
Again, the city is asking people to report these potholes. That way the crews know where to go and other drivers don't lose their hubcaps. And we have a link to the Mayor's Action Center right now on our website at WTHR.com. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostiuk, 13 News.
Until last week.
All the doors but this one got replaced. That was a furnace door.
Susie Elliott and Bob Barthel were strangers.
You kept that one?
And that probably had 1,000,000 coats of paint on it.
But there is one thing they have in common.
So this is the front of the house when we moved in. Well, later, this is from '67. So my parents moved in there in '55, the year I was born. And then your front of the house was this.
Okay.
This home in the Eagledale neighborhood.
2813 Eagledale Drive.
The address where Susie grew up and Bob raised his family.
When you meet people and you have shared memories, it's just fun.
And now, memories are not the only thing they share.
And I realized that it was a trinket, and but I just couldn't bring myself to throw it away.
The trinket is this, an old metal bracelet he found while digging in his garden back in 2016. Yes, behind that same home on Eagledale Drive.
And I thought, well, maybe someday I can find out who it belonged to.
So Bob made a Facebook post and included the name faintly etched on what he called the trinket, but knew it was someone's treasure.
I said, Helen Ward, that's my mom. And then when I talked to my aunt, she told me that probably my dad had given it to my mom for her 16th birthday.
Making the bracelet 77 years old.
So that's incredible.
And to make it even more incredible, the post was made 5 years ago. Susie didn't see it until last week, days before what would have been her parents' anniversary.
And to see her name on something, her maiden name, was really significant to me.
So who lost the bracelet?
That's a very good question.
Susie and her sister are taking the blame.
I won't tell who, because I don't know. Probably were playing with Mom's jewelry and lost it.
A bracelet not made of gold or silver.
And it had no value to me, not to discount it, it just didn't have any value.
But it did to somebody.
Oh, it's priceless.
A priceless surprise that's also formed a new friendship.
The Pineys are still there.
Yeah, my parents were big gardeners.
Creating new memories from a home that brought them together. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostiuk, 13 News.
Stand by.
When it comes to shooting, time, distance, and accuracy matters.
Yeah, he was definitely aiming those shots.
A newly released timeline from Greenwood police shows 22-year-old Eli Dickin took the suspect out within 15 seconds of the shooter opening fire on the food court. Despite standing about 40 yards away, he was still able to hit the shooter 8 times. It's something Mark Welter with Indy Arms says isn't impossible, but does take a lot of practice.
What impressed me the most as far as your average civilian shooter was not the number of rounds fired, not the hit rate, not the time, but the distance.
So we tried it out, putting the target 25 yards out.
Stand by.
Okay, so that was 7 seconds to draw and get off 10 rounds at 25 yards. And I'm low on a lot of them.
And we tried it again, this time with someone else. He got the same time, but instead, all 10 shots hit the target. And this is without the stress and adrenaline Dickin probably felt at the time.
To have that level of performance with that level of difficulty was just super, super impressive.
Police say Dickin had no police training or military background, saying he learned to shoot from his grandfather. Lessons that have now turned into life-saving action.
And he was a hero. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Lauren, tonight you found out just how rare this kind of ending is for these active shooter situations.
That's right, Scott. Tonight I dug through data from researchers who study active shooter events and train people on them. Only about 5% end the way this did. They reviewed about 464 shootings over 20 years. In 73 cases, a bystander stopped the shooter before police arrived. 49 of those happened when someone physically stopped them, and 24 happened when a witness shot them. Now, this is only for active shooting situations, but it shows how unique this was. And thankfully, Eli was in the right place at the right time, saving countless lives.
Yes, he did.
Row seat to swimming history.
When you walk into Lucas Oil Stadium, you can feel the humidity and smell the more than 2 million gallons of water. I mean, just take a look. Lucas Oil Stadium, no longer a football field, now a giant natatorium with 1,000 athletes ready to make a splash.
From touchdowns to slam dunks to backstrokes, this latest transformation of the Colts gridiron setting a record of its own with the first ever pool inside an NFL stadium.
Indianapolis is the first time ever.
The trials are also on track to be the largest swim meet ever, lasting 9 days and attracting more than 250,000 fans. All eyes will be on the country's top swimmers as they compete for 52 spots on Team USA. And to kick things off, a special guest taking quite the inaugural dip. The pool is open! A splash made possible thanks to hundreds of workers. 2 weeks ago, we watched as crews constructed the pools, added graphics, and even went underneath the deck.
We're doing it, and we did it.
Shauna Ferguson with USA Swimming has been a part of the planning since the very beginning.
The construction of this has been even more flawless than it ever has been before, so we'll take those as wins.
Another cool feature is this walkout area with a 70-foot video screen.
When they come out, their names will wrap around the boards too. It'll be a whole show. It's a whole show.
A show you don't want to miss. Because if there's one thing Indy knows, it's how to host a spectacle. This time replacing a checkered flag with the fastest lap in the pool.
And if you want to be part of this golden moment and get some hardware of your own, all you have to do is volunteer. And we have a link to our website with more shifts opening just this week. At Lucas Oil Stadium, Lauren Kostiuk, 13 News.
And remember, Channel 13 is your home for the upcoming summer